but I feel alive. So much I wanted to say, but now it's too late. Find a way, find a way, spend the night with you. We're best so unfair. You left me there. Took the 9:35 from Belfast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another live stream Tuesday. I hope you guys had a good start to your week and that the weekend was good as well. I can see all of you guys in the live chat room already. So hello to all of you guys in there. I'm going to give you an early shout out because sometimes I forget to do that. And then it's going through too quickly, but we'll see how we get on here. We've got Joe, Cindy, Laurie, Karen, Bob, Tammy, Susie, Q, Mo, Ro, Howard, and I say that is now moving too quickly for me to keep up with everything, but we've got Laugh Out Loud Can in there as well, Desert Deluge, Frank, Dwayne, I think Daisy I saw go through, Barbara. Hello everyone, thank you for joining me tonight. And let me get the names of my patrons up on screen because they make this all possible in the first place. So a massive thank you to these lovely people at the bottom of the screen. I'm just checking that you can hear me and you can see me and everything is fine. I can see that things are moving on screen, which is good. Now, something that might happen in tonight's live stream is we might descend into darkness because I don't know how long these lights are going to last for with the battery that they currently have in them. So if it does start to get dark, we might have to cut away and then I'll change the lights or put on some other lights and then we'll keep on going. But as long as you can see me so far, we should be fine. Right. Now, let me get the likes goal up on screen because for tonight's live stream, we are aiming for 375 likes, 375 thumbs up. If you can hit that thumbs up, it would be very much appreciated. It helps the channel to grow and for these live streams to get out there a little bit more. And yeah, I'm just trying to see. Okay, it just looked like something was displaying incorrectly on the screen, but I think it's all okay. That it does just say Phil Jam number 315 as well. So yeah, now let's get the likeometer up on screen, see where we're at so far. 207 likes. That's a good start. Thank you everyone for spiking the likes so early on, and we'll keep on trying to keep an eye on that. I'm seeing the number because I think, right, if we get to 20, would that be... okay, it's 215. I'm going to attempt to figure out how many more likes we need. It keeps on jumping. So let's just pretend that it's like 220, which means that I can't see, it's too small on my screen to see what the target is. Was it 375? If it ends in a 5, that's going to be troublesome. So... yes, it is 375. So that means we're looking for another 152 people. That's what my brain has just told me the number should be, and that's what I'm going to go with. That's my final answer, as they say on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And if it's incorrect, then it is what it is. But anyway, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that throughout the live stream. The final thing to get up on screen is the donations tab, because you don't have to donate. Just watching is great. For those people that can't resist donating, I think it's important that they know between 45 and 60% goes to YouTube through the super chat window, and between 3 and 5% goes to PayPal through the PayPal link, which you can find in the description below. So with tonight's live stream, I have labelled it as free guitar lesson, anyone. And for the first time in maybe 10 years, I thought, why don't I have the guitar here? So I could just reach over. I guess it shows you how much I plan before the live streams. I spend all the time checking the sound, checking the video, making sure that the frame rate's all right on the camera. And I never then think as far as actually reaching over to get a guitar, because I always put it in this position, which is a pain. Whereas this one, I will be able to, well, I say I will be able to grab it more easily, but let's just see a little bit later on when I go to grab it and pull everything down and the mic falls off and everything goes wrong. So anyway, for this live stream, yeah, we will bust out the guitar. I'll get through all of the, I don't know what you'd call it, all of the stuff that we normally do at the beginning of the live stream, but we've got everything on screen. I guess it's like the admin of the beginning of the live stream, but yeah, there will be, I think, a few techniques that people have asked to have explained, so I'll demonstrate those, and those will make up the guitar lesson part of the live stream. But there is a lot to talk about, but I am going to be making a video because I don't want to spend the whole live stream talking about what I am going to be talking about in that video, because if I make a video, it can be a lot more succinct, and I can kind of make the point that I want to make in the video and obviously edit it, so it means that it can be a lot shorter. But I did a post on Patreon last night, was it? I lose track of where we are, but it was quite a long post because I was telling people about what's been going on behind the scenes with Authentic Vocal, and it's something that I'm going to make a video explaining what I'm going to be doing. But Authentic Vocal, I don't know how long ago, there was a petition that I started up because I was getting lots of messages from people saying, oh, if we don't agree with, the amount of tuning and, lip syncing and miming going on, what can we do? Can we take something to the government, or, sign a petition to get a law which means that if you buy tickets to go and watch a show and it's a live show, that it is actually live, that you're not paying for something that's pre-recorded? And I mean, I set up a petition and thousands of people signed it, which was great, but I thought this it just isn't the most effective way to do it, because then you're relying on government to implement something which could take maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years, who knows, maybe 50 years. So the petition thing was great, lots of signatures, but then I started Authentic Vocal, and that was something that I set up about a year ago now, maybe just over a year. But it was exactly what it sounds like, Authentic Vocal. It was covering people's performances and letting people know what was an authentic vocal and what wasn't. And you might have noticed that I'm mentioning the name of the side project. Now, what happens on the channel historically is, as soon as I mention it, because it's to do with telling people about what's going on in the music industry, as soon as I mention it, everything falls off on my channel. So it means we hit a brick wall. YouTube doesn't tell anybody about my videos, and we just have to suffer. Well, I was going to say suffer for a few months. It takes quite a long time to get back up to the viewing figures, and therefore the amount of people watching my channel and the knock-on effect of that, people going and checking out my website, buying my music, downloading songs, buying merchandise, all of these things, when the channel's going as it normally would, everything's fine. As soon as it hits a brick wall, it means that all of that through flow and all of that extra revenue from merchandise and sales, that stops. So that was the whole problem with it. And I've been thinking recently, I did say, and I have been saying over the last few months, especially because I did that video collaborating with 7 vocal coaches that was all to do with Authentic Vocal. And as soon as I released those videos, I did either 2 or 3 of them, everything stopped again on the channel. And then I started saying on the live streams that, I think we're just going to have to not mention the side project and try and avoid it as much as possible, because it's so dramatic, the effect it has on this channel when I mention it. But then recently, I guess maybe last week, I thought, why? Why should I have to not mention something that I want to mention and myself and a lot of other people are passionate about? So I thought, well, I'm going to just mention it. I made that decision, and I did that post last night saying that I'm just going to mention it now. The only problem with mentioning it, of course, is everything drops off and we start YouTube starts unsubscribing people from this channel. I know it's crazy, but that's what's happened on only on the occasions I've mentioned it. It's just too coincidental for the day I mention it or release a video, and then the next day everything drops off and then continues to for the next maybe 4 weeks. So yeah, it's too coincidental, but I am going to be mentioning it now. It means that, yes, I guess accepted that everything's going to drop off and we're going to be getting a lot less kind of views, and people won't be checking out my website or buying CDs or music or merchandise, so there'll be a big drop off there. But because I think with authentic vocal, it's not something that I want to make into like a paid for service, because if I'm going to different organizations, and I'm going to mention who I'm going to be working with in the future in a second, but I thought, saying to people, yes, you can get your performance authenticated, and then they say, oh great, and I say it'll cost you £300 because of the amount of work that I've got to put into it. You think, well, that's not really going to change the industry, because now there's a barrier for it actually happening. So I thought, well, I'm going to take the Patreon approach. So everyone that supports me at the bottom of the screen, the very reason you're even watching this live stream and the reason that I can make videos on YouTube is because of these people at the bottom of the screen. And they've supported me for years, and I've been on Patreon for years, and I've had so much support on there to the point where I can do this, and it has allowed me and enabled me to set up Authentic Vocal. But now, getting Authentic Vocal up and running, it means that I'm going to need support for that because there's going to be a definite drop off on the channel, which I thought, do I just keep quiet about it, or do I kind of throw it out there that I'm going to be doing this thing, and if you do want to know what you're listening to in the future and potentially change the music industry, then you can head over to Patreon and you can click on the Authentic Vocal tier. And what it is, I've just set it at $3 for a month, because I thought, well, that's like a coffee. So maybe people might feel as passionate about buying a coffee a month as they would be about changing the future of the music industry. So I've put that on there, and people can go over there if they want to. I'm going to make a video and mention it in a main video on my channel, because that's something I've never done in an analysis video, like mention Patreon or anything like that, because I want the analysis videos just to be about what the analysis videos are about. And that's why I don't do sponsored videos either. I just want to focus on the subject of the video. But if I am making a video that is specifically about Authentic Vocal, then I will mention that people can go and support the movement and myself getting it out there. And the huge news, which I'll mention in the video in the future as well, is that I'm going to be working with BBC Introducing. And yes, I'm talking about the actual BBC here in the UK. So to explain what it is, BBC Introducing are a nationwide thing. I'm going to be working with the Sussex BBC Introducing. It's like the southeast of England, around kind of the Brighton area, where it's up and coming talent, unsigned artists who get to have their music out there a little bit more. They get promoted by BBC Introducing, and they come in and perform live on the radio. And yeah, it's great, because I've been looking for projects to work with over the last year, and I think, well, nothing's really a good fit. But working with unsigned bands, you think, well, that's exactly where we need to start. Is if you can get the younger generation saying, look, we are doing this live and we're not tuning our vocals, we're not miming, we're not lip syncing, and we're happy to tell everyone that that's what we're doing. If we can get it at that grassroots stage, then yeah, as things then progress. And by the way, BBC Introducing, we're going to start small. And Dan Bridge, who messaged me about an analysis video, and he mentioned that he was one of the sound guys, worked at BBC Introducing, and then I said, oh, that's interesting, because I've got a project and I've been looking for something to kind of attach it with, and BBC Introducing would be great. And yeah, so I've been chatting with him, and he's definitely on board with it, as are BBC Introducing, and he's mentioned it to all of the main body of BBC Introducing, and they're happy for things to go forward with it. At the moment, we're starting small and just in an area of England. But like I said, they have these in all of the different counties of England. So there is scope to be rolling out authentic vocal to lots of genuine performances by the younger generation. And we're going to be looking at all kinds of genres as well, which is great. And yeah, this is it. That's what I'm going to be doing in the future. And obviously, you guys over on Patreon will hear all about it. And I'll be posting videos to this channel as well, because I'm not going to be hiding anything about it anymore. But yeah, it means that if you do want to kind of get behind it and support it and help me push it out there, and yeah, just get things rolling, then you can head over to Patreon. I haven't mentioned it, of course, yet in a video, but I have started that over there. So you'll see a tier for $3 that's like authentic vocal. You'll see the logo on there if you want to support it. And yeah, for people that are already patrons, like the people at the bottom of the screen, it might be the case that you are a patron for more than $3 already, supporting me and what I do on the channel and everything, including authentic vocal. So yeah, it doesn't, you can just stay where you are. This is very much, I think, for people that want to just do a little bit and support, maybe getting new patrons along, maybe people that watch the channel or are, I guess, enthusiastic and excited to maybe have something like this in the future in the music industry. So it's just something that I thought that I'd set up, and hopefully when I mention it in a video, we might get a few people over there and we can start to get a little bit of support going, because I know that unfortunately the way that YouTube is and having its deal with the major labels, it means that I'm gonna have to try and fill that gap that is undoubtedly going to be created by me being really open and honest about what I'm doing, because I know it's not in the best interest of the major record labels. But this is the other part of it, that with major record labels and having an agreement with YouTube, it means that lots of things are fenced off, that you can't really break into that. But when you're looking at unsigned artists, they're not affiliated with any labels. So unsigned artist or an unsigned artist, they can just do what they want to do, which means that we can push out those performances, and there's nothing that the mainstream industry can do about it. And it's amazing to have the go-ahead from BBC Introducing to just get the ball rolling. And I think potentially in the future that there's a lot of scope for things expanding and rolling out, because BBC Introducing are involved with so many things, and they've got the BBC Introducing stage at Glastonbury, for example, huge festival, also actually at Reading Festival. So anyway, they have stages at these festivals where you go and watch unsigned bands and artists, and hopefully it might be many years in the future, but hopefully it will get to a point where you might go to a festival, you might see an unsigned band performing on the BBC Introducing stage, and you will know them from authentic vocals, seeing that they do everything live. So, it'll be interesting. You might be going to a festival where the huge acts might not be doing it live, but then the unsigned bands are the ones who are actually doing it. So it could be an interesting future. But this is what I've been talking about for so many years, of having a fork in the road, where if you want to hear the pre-recorded stuff and the major label bands and artists doing that, that's absolutely fine. But at least you've now got an option to go and check out people that are just giving you a raw performance. The other thing is that I think with the BBC introducing performances, because they're unsigned, it means people have not got the money to put into having session musicians play their songs. I think, and I will be expecting live vocals, but maybe with backing track elements or even over a backing track. So yeah, I'm really just focusing on the vocal talent of the artists, and yeah, instrumental talent if they are a band that are playing. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to dive into it. So anyway, that is what I'm going to be jumping into, and everything, by the way, on the channel is staying exactly the same. It's just now I'm going to be talking about what I'm doing, on that side project that I mentioned, which is Authentic Vocal. I'm going to be now free to mention it and upload anything that I want to, rather than having to try to hide it because I'm worried about the drop in views on the main YouTube channel. But like I said, I'm very much taking a leap of faith here and saying, right, I know what's going to happen to my channel, but I think it's better, it's for the greater good of the future of the music industry. So I think it's better just to say, right, I know what's going to happen, and if I can generate some support and fill that gap that's left by kind of taking that leap, then hopefully we'll be able to push forward with Authentic Vocal. But it's great that working with an organisation like the BBC. So anyway, thank you everyone for your support, and like I said, at the bottom of the screen. And yet now this is the thing, that if you are already a patron over on Wings of Pegasus, you might be on a tier that is more than $3. So it means it might take your tier, it will take your tier down to $3. So it means that ultimately I'll be losing out, because say that you were on a tier of $5 and then you click on the Authentic Vocal tier, you'll now be down to $3, so it'll be $2 less. So like I said, if you're on a tier already, that's absolutely fine. You can stay there. It's not going to be added to. It's kind of going to now reset you on that one. So yeah, just to make sure that if everyone now joined up the Authentic Vocal tier, it means it'll be a disaster, because now everybody, I know there are people who are on different tiers, and 3's the lowest. So I know there are quite a few people on other tiers that might be $5, might be $10. So yeah, this is it. Like I said, if you're already supporting me over on Patreon, that's great. Of course, if you wanted to go up to the next tier in support of Authentic Vocal, it's everything on that page is going to be for me to push forward with what I'm doing on this channel, but with Authentic Vocal. So yeah, that's just an important thing to mention. I'll probably mention that in the video as well, because it's quite an important point. But anyway, right, let me skip this advert, and we will jump into the donations that, I can see that we're gonna have to get the lycometer off screen so we can read these. Monica donated $5. Thank you for that. And the message is, hi Phil, what are you doing for your birthday this year? Any plans yet? Julian, no plans yet. We've still got a bit of time, so yeah, I'm just full on with everything that I'm doing at the moment with Authentic Vocal, and obviously keeping doing the videos on here as well. And Ninja Kitty's donated $2 and says, Kitty speaks for Phil chat. We want Phil acoustic jam, please. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but thank you for that. If you're talking about having an acoustic jam, the acoustic isn't plugged in. I haven't got the levels sorted for it. If I was playing along to the backing track, whatever backing track it may be, you are getting the backing track at full volume out of your speakers. And I've mic'd up my amplifier so that, I think it's roughly in the right kind of place. It has been in the last few weeks, so that you can hear my guitar. If I'm playing an acoustic guitar, you can only hear it through this. And sometimes when I'm talking, when I'm playing, you'll hear how you can't hear my voices clearly, which means you definitely wouldn't be able to hear what I'm playing on the guitar. You'll just probably hear the backing track. So yeah, everything's set up at the moment for electric guitar so that you can actually hear it. So yeah, setting up the acoustic, I'd have to plug in the acoustic, and then obviously I can't have distortion going on. I have to go into a clean channel and then adjust the levels, and maybe get a backing track to adjust the levels with, it's just going to take a very long time. And you don't want to sit there watching that. And then I'll say, well, we've lost the amount of time that we had, and we won't be able to do the fill jam because it's taken this long to try and set it up. And that's assuming there are no issues. Right. But anyway, thank you for that. And Major MST3K fan has donated $10. So thank you for that. And the message is, help. I self-taught how to pick a guitar, but can't figure out chords. I have to move this out of the way. Play some strings, but not others. Help. So, right, yeah, we will get to that. I'll tell you what, let's bust out the guitar. I know that we've got a few. I almost went reaching in the other position. I know that we've got, a few guitar questions. So let me put on the mic. Hopefully you can hear this, is it? Okay, here we go. Right, now the easiest, got a bit of delay on there as well. The easiest chord that you'll want to learn to begin with is an E. Like that, because you can go all the way across the strings. So a good thing to remember, if you know the names of the strings, then that's a really good place to start, because you have an E on the bottom here, and when you play an E chord, that's where you go all the way across the strings. The next string down is an A, and if you know an A chord, now you know which string to go from, the A, like that. And then you can have a D chord. If you know that the next string down is a D, then you know to go from there for a D chord. So already that D, A, E, you'll know where to go with those. So, I mean, generally, like whenever you're playing a chord, like, a G as well, for example, you can go all the way across, exactly the same way that you can with an E, because your root note, kind of the lowest note of the chord here, is on the low E string. Let's say, for example, I'm playing a C like this. The root note of the chord is on the A string, so we don't play the E, we go from there to play the C. So yeah, I mean, when you are playing the chords, it just takes a little bit of time to get used to. If you are playing a C, for example, here, you can bring your thumb over to rest on the low E string, and that's just a technique that allows you a little bit more freedom. If you find that you're always hitting that low E, I mean, it might be something that in the song that you're playing, it might actually have the low E in there, but if you're just playing a C and you don't want that low E to ring out, you can have that thumb over the top. So now, if I'm playing that chord, I'm hitting the low E string there, but you can't hear it because I'm just resting on it with this thumb. I'm not pinching down, to fret it, I'm just resting on it. So you get that muted sound, which means you can start playing with a little bit more freedom. And, if you want to do the same thing with the D, it depends how long your thumb is, but I can kind of just hover it over and touch the low E string and the A string. So now I'm hitting all of the strings there, but you're not hearing the first, the second, but you're hearing the D because I'm kind of not muting that. So yeah, there are technique things that you can do on the left hand, but I think when I started to play the guitar, I didn't do all of the fancy technique stuff. I was just concentrating on trying to find which string to go from, like that. And obviously, you can look at the guitar. I'm looking at the camera, but so don't try doing it looking away. You want to get that muscle memory so that you're always going to be looking at the right hand. Make sure you pick out the right string, and then you can get all of your basic chords down there, like A minor as well. Same rule, go from the A string. D minor, again, same rule, go from the D string. So E minor, go from the E string. So that is that. So hopefully that makes it a little bit easier trying to remember which kind of string to go from. But I mean, it's relatively straightforward just to look up on Google the chords like E major, G major, D major, A major, and all of the chords, unless it's specified as a minor chord, if I say, like when I was saying a D, an A, an E, it's assumed you're talking about the major chord. But then A minor, D minor, E minor, that's always specified if it is going to be a minor. So yes, if you just type into Google D chord on guitar, it will show you that shape as a D major. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Angela's donated $10. Thank you for that in the messages. Here's to a successful BBC and authentic vocal. I just signed up to be a patron of AV. Happy to help out. So thank you for that. And yeah, again, bear in mind that if you already on a higher tier, it's going to take it down. So it actually puts me in a worse position. So yeah, I'll have to see. I mean, it might be the case. I'll have to figure out over on Patreon whether, I think they just do it in tiers, so that you say, right, you set up a tier and you say, right, well, how much is that tier? And I've kind of put $3. I don't know whether you can set up something that's like a custom thing and people just put in the amount. Because yeah, it's going to be the case that I think the patrons that are already supporting me, you don't need to do anything because you're already supporting me. So I think I'll have to figure it out. I haven't thought about the ins and outs of it, other than just setting up something for new people who might be interested, who might watch the video that I'm going to do, for then clicking on that particular tier over on Patreon. So. Right, now there have been donations in the PayPal window, so thank you guys for these. And the first one was from Elrod, who donated £6. So thank you for that. I'm just checking that is a straight up donation. And Ian has donated £1 as well. So thank you for that, Ian. And that's a straight up donation as well. And Cindy's donated £30. Thank you for that, Cindy. And the message is, hi Phil. I'm wondering if you could demonstrate some different string bending techniques. I'd particularly like to see you talk about unison bends like you used in the Lay It on the Line solo. Thanks. So thank you for that. And yeah, I mean, I was just following the solo of Rick's in the first place, so it wasn't really that I used. It was originally on the solo. But I think Joe might have asked something like this when I was opening up my laptop earlier, or at least there was another question. For some reason, my brain is saying that I saw the word bend somewhere. Oh, here we go. Yes. So. It's a different thing. So we're talking about vibrato and the same thing here. So differences in bend technique, which is kind of the same thing. So right, with bends, first of all, we'll address this where we have a unison bend, and a unison bend. Let's place it in A minor, again second string down. That's where you want to go from, but. A minor 7. Here, a unison bend is when you bend a string up to the pitch of the next fretted note on the next string. So say, for example, I've got two notes here and here. Now if I bend this up, I can get to that same pitch. Like that. But if I fret this at the same time, this, and I start to match that pitch as best I can, that's called a unison bend. Now, what you will have to be aware of, and this is just like a technical thing, that if I play this, my first finger on the B string, I don't know whether you can, just making sure that you see this, yes you can. So if I'm playing my first finger, if you've got, I'm going to play the note and do the bend. And if you are relatively sensitive to pitch, you can hear that that first finger, the note, is actually descending and then it comes back when I then decrease the tension on the bridge. That's what's happening here. When I do the bend, it means that this finger is losing tension, because, or should I say, the string's losing tension that I'm fretting with my finger because of this bend that's happening on the other string. So yeah, it will mean that the tension from the bend is kind of stealing the tension from this string and other strings on the guitar. So something to be wary of, that when you are doing a unison bend, that you're very much trying to listen to and you're trying to match those two up. So generally, you know, that bend, I mean, that's a sound that you'll hear a lot, just unison bends, but a unison bend and then using vibrato at the top, kind of like that, and we're just in A minor here. So that's it. It's all about matching the pitch, but by listening, and when you get used to that, you can then start to automatically bend to a particular place. But I think even still, you're always kind of consciously editing it. Like if you go, for example, you don't go far enough, and you go there, you can hear that, oh, that I didn't bend it far enough. So then you want to try and get it to that same point where the notes now blend together. So, right, so that's the first one done. That's unison bends. Now, I think Joe was talking about different types of bends. So what I was doing there, again, I'm in A minor here. If I'm doing a tone bend, or like a full bend, as it's referred to as, but I'll refer to it in the amount of notes that we're playing. If I'm going, I'm bending up to here, which is just our next note in the shape if we go down to the B, but we'll keep it here. So when you're practicing your bends, play the pitch that you're trying to hit, and try and store that in your head. Then when you play the bend, and you want to try and get it to the same place so that your bend sounds like the note that you just played. So, yeah, I mean, that's a bend that, I mean, in minor pentatonic shape 1, yeah, you'll be playing that bend all the time. But we've also got, you know, like bending to the blues scale, for example. Instead of going and playing the blues scale like that, going, so I'm actually bending the string to the note. And now this is a semitone. So now that's where we want to try and get to. Like that. So just practicing it really. But the great thing about bends is that you can make them as subtle as you want. So say, for example, that I didn't want to go fully up a semitone. I can go and make it really subtle, like that, with a bit of vibrato in there as well. And then you can start to just edge it up a little bit more. Yeah, great thing about playing the guitar is that you can kind of simulate a voice when you're starting to bend the strings, because you can decide where you want to go. You're not, now stuck in these frets. Yeah, you can start to bend a lot more if you want to. So yeah, that's those two, I'd say, are your two bends that you're going to be doing most of the time when we go. You might have, let's say, for example, now we're going up, so we're going 1, 2, 3 semitones. So that's like a tone and a half of a bend, and you'll hear this quite a lot. in the blues, so that kind of thing. And same thing there. But this is all about just practicing getting to pitch. So if I'm playing here and I want to get to here, bend up and try and find where that pitch is. And eventually you'll start to, find where those notes are. And then if you want to get kind of really fancy with it, you can practice bending with other fingers as well. Like that. So I'm using my first finger to get to there. So So and it's something that I tend to do all the time with the So I'm effectively kind of bending up a semitone. Just to give it a slightly different sound. So what I'm doing as well is kind of combining techniques of not only playing a bend with a pick first, like that, but you can do what's called a pre-bend, which is where you bend and you haven't picked the string. So it's like a silent bend, and then you allow that note to come down. So it gives you a totally different expression to it. You can do the same thing with the blues that we just did. So it's cool because you can start just doing what you want to with bends. And I'd say those are the main ones. Just a final thing to finish with is that if you're doing a unison bend, if you want to, you might hear this quite a lot. So now I'm actually fretting, and this is again something you hear all the time, fretting on the B string. Again, it's going to be good to do all of this if you can. Remember that pentatonic shape 1, because you can just do everything off this shape. It doesn't really matter. So when we get to here, you can go like that, and again that's going to be a bend up and vibrato if you want to make it sound a bit fancier. So there's probably quite a lot to be getting on with there if you're new to bending, but I'd say the most important thing is reaching those pitches and being able to hear when you are close, and just kind of adjusting it as you go and get used to it. You might find as well that if your strings are quite heavy, if you're playing maybe kind of 10s or 11s or 12s, that bending is really difficult. That you might want to do that, or like that, but you'll go, or and you can't get that bend to where you want it to because the tension's just too much. So string gauge is all about your physiology, like what you can do, what you can't do, how naturally strong your hands are, how big your hands are. There have been some players who have had very heavy strings, and then when you look at their hands, it's because their hands are like the Hulk. It's because those are the strings that work well with them for their playing style. Because none of the great players of all time have ever played with strings that they couldn't do a tone bend with. It just wouldn't work. They've all had that. They've all been able to do that bend. So what I would say is just get strings that work for you, and it doesn't matter if you have to get really light strings because then you can do the bends. It's all about expressing yourself through the instrument and the instrument allowing you to do that. You don't want to kind of restrict your artistic creativity because you've got the wrong gear. You've got your string gauge is too heavy. So just find strings that I started with Ernie Ball 9s. Those are kind of relatively light, but still, yeah, okay for the tone, and having that ability to do all the bends that you want to. That there might be, you might want to do even, larger bends, and then I know that you can get eights and sevens. I don't think I've ever played with sevens, but I know that they are out there. But this is it's catering for every single player and what they can do and the physiology of their hands. So try to make playing the guitar as easy as possible from that gear perspective. So there we go. I think we've pretty much got through those questions. And the other thing is that I think pretty much regardless of the strings that you've got, obviously you want to go as light as possible. They're going to allow you to do more bends without getting fatigued, and for the end of your finger to start kind of hurting or whatever. Let me just I'll do a bend, and I'll quickly show I don't know whether you can see, maybe the light's too bright, but I have got lines on my fingers. Those are something that you'll get used to that. And if you're playing with heavy strings, then you might get blisters on the end of your fingers and it might hurt. And that's why, you can do some bends, get some lighter strings and practice. But as soon as it starts to get a little bit kind of painful, you can have a bit of time off. But your fingers will harden up on the ends, when you are regularly practicing. So you won't have to worry too much about it. Right. So now, let me jump back into the PayPal window because Miss Marie has donated £2. Thank you for that. And let me just scroll down. And the question is, hi Phil, what phrases or techniques did you steal or borrowed from great guitarists, and how did you make them sound your own? Can you please demonstrate? Thanks and rock. So thank you for that. Let me just skip this advert. Oh, and it's already like 10 to midnight. So let me actually see what's going on. If you can hit the thumbs up, that would be very much appreciated. We're looking for 14 more people. That's quite good. So if you could hit the thumbs up, that'd be great. And then I was going to say bust out the guitar. We've already got the guitar out. So we'll have a jam at the end of the live stream. But right, getting back to what I was just talking about. Phrases and techniques that I've stolen or borrowed. I don't know. I don't think it ever kind of entered my mind or has entered my mind to steal runs or techniques. It was just things that I think initially when you start playing the guitar and you're trying to figure out what, say for example, Jimi Hendrix is doing, you naturally do the same things because you're trying to figure it out. But here's a good example. You sometimes come up with your own way of doing it. So let's say, right, with my kind of heavier playing, and we'll do this on the strap here in E minor. When I was listening to Winger, probably the first time that I was listening to Winger and listening to Reb Beach playing a solo, I don't think the internet was really that advanced yet. So there weren't loads of instructional videos on YouTube that you could check out. So what I heard was what sounded like, and I knew that he tapped onto the guitar, and that was the sound. And at the time, because I couldn't do any of that, I thought, oh wow, what is that? It sounds like a really smooth legato sound, and that's something that I am a fan of. I'm not as much into alternate picking and being really aggressive, but I like the flow of legato runs and licks and things that just have a really smooth sound to them. But anyway, so I was kind of trying to practice doing that and hitting the next string with this finger, my third finger on my right hand, which is something I believe Reb does. Or does he use his second finger? I don't know. But what I didn't realise was that he palms his pick and uses his first finger for the taps, and he might use his second finger or his third finger. The reason that I'm not sure is because I've figured out a different way. I'm doing something different to try and get the same sound. But I'm not, I haven't worked out all of the runs that he's done, for example, in different songs. Although I know songs very well, I haven't sat down and thought, oh, let me take that particular, tapping run that he does in 17, or I'm the Saint, or You're the Saint, I'm the Sinner, and I'll try and get that down, and I'll use it in one of my songs. It's never really been like that. It's only ever been working at techniques or something that you like the sound of to then apply to your own solos, not copying and pasting somebody else's solo. So yeah, and as you guys will know, if you've watched my live streams, when I'm jamming, I'm never really going off into long passages of tapping continuously, because this kind of thing, obviously on the Fender Strat, but you shouldn't really be doing this anyway, but you can work your way up and down for as long as you want, really, but it's all just the muscle memory of the fingers kind of firing off, and you're not really thinking about what you're doing. If anything, you're just kind of taking a breather from doing things consciously. And yeah, once you get used to it, you can take it down an octave as well. And you can just keep on rolling it round. But for me, I know that kind of Reb sometimes puts together really long phrases, but for me, I'm not really into doing lots of, but that's just artistically my choice not to kind of go off into really long runs all the time. I kind of like to maybe throw it in now and again just for a short section. But so that's certainly a technique that I heard and I thought, oh, that sounds really cool. But then I figured it out the wrong way. I didn't know that he was doing it a different way. And I don't know, I think, well, for my style of playing, if I am using my pick, I'm trying to think if I was having to palm my pick, and it means that I wouldn't be able to pick and then flick because I'd be using my first finger to tap. So I guess there's stuff that I can do with having done it incorrectly that I'm sure Reb can do as well, but it's just something that I've started to do myself. And the other thing is that using that second finger and third finger to tap, which means I can pick, because I'm not palming my pick, I can pick with this pick and actually just hammer-ons and pull-offs to keep that going. And just trying to, when you're thinking about the technique of what you're doing, it always throws in an extra thought process that isn't normally there when you're playing. So then your hand starts to question, says, oh, your hand says, just let me do it. I know the muscle memory, but then you're putting the conscious thought in there, and then it starts messing it up. But I'm trying to think of what so I would go back to that position and start using my pick. So, right, the laptop's just sent itself to sleep. Hopefully that's not the battery. So there we go. That was it. And I only ever work at technique for implementing it my own way. I'm never copying somebody else's run, because I think if you did that, somebody would say, oh, that's the run from that song, but you've done it in your song. I'd much rather just have my song, and then people can't place the solo from my song in any other song because it's just the one that I've done. So yeah, that's what I would advise people doing. As soon as you start copying runs and licks note by note, it can be good for muscle memory when you're learning, but if you're doing that as an original artist, it's a dangerous place to be, I think. So anyway, thank you for that. Connie's donated £30 and says, hi Phil, when playing live, did you ever have a tough crowd, or did you ever think a crowd was tough but they were actually listening intently? Connie, so thank you for that. I think when you are an unsigned band, an artist, especially what we're talking now, like over 20 years ago, playing in and around London, every crowd, I mean, actually, you're happy for a crowd. You don't even care if they're tough, if they're not responding, because there are people there. So just having a crowd is a bonus. But I think generally I would try and get people involved as much as I can, or talk to people who are in the crowd. So yeah, that was kind of my way of trying to get a rapport with the crowd, rather than just kind of being, I don't know, really inward and just focused on what I'm doing. The people want to have a good time as well, so that's very much what I try to do. So I suppose that the crowds aren't, I can't remember ever a crowd that I thought, oh, that was an absolute nightmare because of the crowd. I don't think that has really happened. But I think if you just push out positive vibes, and maybe the style of music as well being, a little bit sometimes tongue-in-cheek, having big hair, and I think people are more likely to kind of get into the whole kind of Bon Jovi type thing, even though it's original music. So I found that I didn't have too many problems. So anyway, thank you for that. And but I say I never had any problems, but anything can happen in the future. Who knows? Ian has donated £10 as well. Thank you for that, Ian. And the message is Ian, aka Blade of Zorro. Greetings, Phil and Wingers. If someone was thinking starting out with playing guitar, what would you suggest as a good electric and a basic acoustic guitar to start with, as I know you've had a range of guitars over the years? So good electric guitar, Yamaha make really good electric guitars, and cheap. Ibanez, I was talking to Taj Farron the other day, I can't remember when that was, about Ibanez Geos, because I got one of those, because Taj says, you can't go wrong with an Ibanez Geo. It's probably going to be like a few £100, but still, Yamaha electric guitars. I'd say probably Tanglewood acoustic guitars for playability, and on kind of the lower end, kind of entry level in cost, it might be a couple of £100. But so those are the two that I'd say: Yamaha electric guitars and Tanglewood acoustic guitars. So in my experience, at least, or things that have worked well for my hand size and physiology, it's always good to try out the guitars if you can, to see if they work with you and the way that you are built. So thank you for that, Ian. And okay, right, 2 minutes past midnight. I just want to quickly get through these. Karen's donated £5.60. Thank you for that. And the message is: hi Phil, bravo for not hiding authentic vocal and allowing its light to shine. Read something about the Holy Grail of guitars, which lists the 1959 Gibson Les Paul Sunburst for electrics and pre-war Martin D45 for acoustics. What makes them the Holy Grail? Thanks for all you do, Karen. So thank you for that. Like with most things, it's going to be rarity, but also the players who played them. It's generally things that, when we're looking at like 1959 Gibson Les Paul, when you're going back to like vintage guitars and the artists that were around at the time that were playing those guitars, that's something that actually Slash had a huge impact on starting to change people's tastes, and busting out something that was from a previous generation and making it look cool means that lots of people were then into Les Pauls again. But you could say that Gary Moore was one of those that would kind of get into that side of things and get his Gibson Les Paul out as well. But anyway, and Martin D45 for acoustics, again, it's just the guitars that had a particular, like aura around them, especially at the time where the musicians, the music that was being made, and everyone that was getting a particular guitar, and the top guitarist would play this acoustic guitar and that electric guitar, or the most well-known guitarist would be playing Gibson Les Paul, or Les Paul would be playing a Gibson Les Paul. I think there's a lot around it that is to do with the perception of the guitars, because you might even play a 1959 Gibson Les Paul and you might think, it doesn't really suit my style of playing, or a Martin D45, it might not suit your playing, but then you might pick up something else and think, I find this easier to play. So this is the thing about guitars, that there can be kind of the holy grail of guitars, but if they don't work for you as a player, then it doesn't really matter what their reputation is. yeah, you've got to play something that suits you as a player and you like the sound of. So yeah, lots of things to consider when buying guitars. And yeah, more often than not, the most expensive one won't be the best one for you. So Ed's donated £20 as well. Thank you for that, Ed. And the message is, I can hum vocally along with any song, staying in key, as many people can. You must tell us how you sing through your guitar during fill jams without worrying about the key, scales, or hitting a bad note, and a bit on how to learn to do that. Ed. So thank you for that, Ed. Right, this might be something that we have to do in the next live stream, because we've only got... Oh no, we haven't even heard the cover video. So we've only got 9 minutes left, and we've still got the fill jam to do. So we'll answer that in the next live stream, which will be on Saturday. And yeah, it's going to be too much for me to get into here. But if I start it earlier on Saturday, then we can do it, and I'll make a note to explain that. And yeah, if you can't see it on Saturday night, then you'll be able to watch it on catch up, and I'll explain kind of the starting blocks of how to sing through the guitar, and then yeah, not having to worry about hitting bum notes. So right, let's jump into tonight's cover video. I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight. Let me end that poll, and then we'll jump into the fill jam afterwards, but I'll see you guys in a second. Rock!
I just died in your arms tonight. Must have been something you said. I just died in your arms tonight. I keep looking for something I can't get. But broken hearts lie all around me, and I don't see an easy way to get out of this. The diary sits by the bedside table. The curtains are closed. The cat's in a cradle. Who'd have thought that a boy like me could come to this? Whoa, I just died in your arms tonight. Must have been something you said. I just died in your arms tonight. Whoa, I just died in your arms tonight. Must have been some kind of kiss. I should've walked away. I should've walked away. Is there any just cause for feeling like this? On the surface, I'm the name on the list. I try to be discreet, but then blow it again. I've lost and found is my final mistake. She's loving my proxy, no give and no take. 'Cause I've been dreaming to fantasy one too many times. Whoa, I just died in your arms tonight. Must have been something you said. I just died in your arms tonight. Whoa, I just died in your arms tonight. Must have been some kind of kiss. I should've walked away. I should've walked away. It was a long, hard night. She made it easy. She made it feel right. But now it's
And there we have it. That was my version of the Cutting Crew classic, I Just Died in Your Arms. Now, I think we might have lost connection there for a while, or at least my feed went down for a second. Don't know what that was all about, but we are back, I think. Right. Now, did I turn that off? I did turn that off. So, we're now going to be jumping into the Phil Jam for tonight. I should have turned this computer on. Right, and now just a quick note. Oh, let me just get to these donations that I saw happened as well. I was going to say, just a quick note over on Patreon. If you're thinking of joining up to the Authentic Vocal to support that, but you're already kind of on a tier that's higher than $3, then yeah, don't go over to the Authentic Vocal thing. I'll try and figure out a way that if people want to also support Authentic Vocal as well as the channel here and myself, everything that I do, I'll figure out a way for maybe that to be possible, because I only really thought of people that watch the channel maybe now going over to Patreon to support it, because I know that everybody at the bottom of the screen is already supporting me, so I haven't thought that they'll then start supporting me even more. So yeah, I'll have to figure that out. Right. Now, Totoro Porco donated $2, so thank you for that. And the message was, did you ever play in Camden? Yes, absolutely. Lots and lots of times. Tottenham Court Road as well. So, the whole area, Camden. We went to Camden Market as well, sometimes at the weekend. So, yes, Elaine donated $2 as well and said TikTok past midnight. So, yeah, that's just getting on with the live stream. And let me just quickly jump into this. Karen donated £3.57. Thank you for that. Message is, did you hear that David Gilmour's black strap that he used for Shine On, You Crazy Diamond and Comfortably Numbs sold at auction for $14.44 million? I didn't hear that, but it doesn't surprise me. Yeah, some people have a lot of money, and that really ties into the last question about guitars being seen as the Holy Grail. If there's a particular a reputation around a guitar, or it was used to make a particular album or song, then yeah, that it can all belong to a particular artist. Yeah, things can get a little bit crazy. But right now, let me see what this is all about. Right now, I think I just clicked on the right thing. Hopefully, this is best pop rock guitar backing track in the world, and in brackets E and A minor, and this is from Q Jam Tracks. So here we go, we're going to be jamming along to the best backing track in the world. Right, I'm going to press play. As for levels, can't really do too much about it. This is like almost 8 minutes long, so we're going to be running over. Let's have a listen. I'm listening to this through a laptop, so sounds a bit quiet. Just going to try and deal with it. Can you hear this? change somewhere. Guitar's got a little bit too quiet. weird fade out thing there, unfortunately, but there we go. So that was the best pop rock guitar backing track in the world, and that in brackets E and A minor from Q Jam Tracks. So there we have it. Thank you, Joe, for sending me the best backing track in the world. And yeah, that was just a bit of a weird ending. Nothing you can really do about that. So that is it for tonight's live stream, and I think that we are up to date and that we have addressed everything. We're finishing a little bit late tonight, but we will be back on Saturday night, so if you guys can join me then, that'd be very much appreciated, where we will be answering that question about the guitar and the playing. We'll bust out the guitar again in the future and on Saturday night to answer that question. But right, Karen's just donated $2 and says, thanks for showing your palm. I'll be reading laugh out loud. So thank you for that. Right, all that's left for me to say is try to stay as safe and as sane as possible in this crazy world in which we live. I'm going to be here, of course, with another video tomorrow night, so look out for that, and hopefully you can join me on Saturday night. And yeah, we'll try and hit another Lights Gold target. Thank you for ensuring that that has happened tonight. And I will catch you guys at the next one. Rock!